What's happening, Soul Fam? So today we're going to be talking about the dark night of the soul and some of the lessons that you really need to pay attention to if you're going through the dark night of the soul right now, okay? So for those of you that do not know what the dark night of the soul is, it is a moment when a great spiritual awakening gets summoned inside of you. And because of it, a lot of things in your reality have to break apart. So this can be a relationship that you've been in, this can be your career, this can be your living situation, this can be everything that you've been planning to do up until this moment, and it just like boof crashes and destroys itself right in front of your eyes. And no matter what it is that you do, you cannot hold on to this vibration anymore. Now the reason why this ends up happening is because you have not been living authentically in your vibration. A lot of times people feel that the dark night of the soul has to do with like some sort of punishment, some sort of karma that needs to be answered for. Sometimes, yes, but not very often. That's like a very small margin of what the dark night of the soul actually ends up triggering inside of you. So one of the things that you really have to understand when you're going through the dark night of the soul, and before we dive into that, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe, and leave your comments below if you've gone through the dark night of the soul. Let other people who are finding this video know what your experience is, because that's going to be very helpful for them as they go through the comments. And I'm going to share my experience with you as well. So when you're going through the dark night of the soul, you need to understand this one critical thing. You need to go with the flow, all right? When I was going through my dark night of the soul, my mentor at the time forced me to really understand Taoism, all right? So it's T as in tomato, A-O-I-S-M, Taoism, all right? It looks like Taoism, but it's called Taoism. Now that talks about going with the flow of life. Like sometimes your life feels like it's not in order, and if life were a river, you tend to swim against that river, and then of course you'll drown. And that's what a lot of people end up doing during the dark night of the soul. Like the river's pushing them in a totally different direction, and they choose to swim against that river, and if you end up doing that, you end up drowning. Things get worse instead of you just going with the flow and using that progressively to get to shore, okay? So Taoism is one of the things that I would really say to look up. And I would also even say like look up Confucianism, because both of those things are very much so helpful for allowing you to just like understand that the cosmos is changing for some greater purpose than what you might be paying attention to at this current moment, and that you need to be okay with that shift that's going on right now. So when you're going through the dark night of the soul, you need to be able to just like be still and watch everything around you happen. Take note. That was one of the things that it really helped me when I was going through my dark night of the soul, was like I was taking notes of everything. Every time when I was hanging out with this one individual, were good things happening or bad things happening? Every time I chose to go to my job, like were good things happening or bad things happening? When I got an intuitive prompt that I should go left instead of right, did good things happen or did bad things happen? And that was something that really helped me navigate and understand, okay, well, if every time I hang out with so-and-so, more negativity happens, and every time I go to my job, more negativity happens, and when I'm doing this one other thing, when I choose to go left instead of going right, more positivity happens. I was like, okay, well, I have to start rewiring my reality to bring me more positivity, because whatever I've been doing up until now is outdated. It's out of my realm of reality. It's not something that I need personally anymore. The hardest part with like the dark night of the soul is convincing yourself that you can save every aspect that you know you have to shift, okay? For some people, that might be their twin flame. A lot of times people go through their dark night of the soul when they meet their twin flame. That's exactly what ended up happening to me. I was getting out of like an engagement with someone. I was really heartbroken, and then I ran into my twin flame. My twin flame and I had like this magical explosion of like sex and art and like self-discovery. And with time, you know, being with that person, I started noticing things started going downhill. Like I started losing track of myself. Like I knew I had this greater purpose, that I had to help humanity. I had to like go out of my way to like really bring this light that I had out into the cosmos. But every time I was with this person, that light would be like diminished. And it almost felt like it was more so like every time I tried to go for my light, being with my twin flame, more negativity would happen. And for the longest time, I thought maybe it was me. Maybe I'm not supposed to be going through this vibration. Maybe I'm the one that's causing this strife, right? But I noticed that every time I felt this draw to grow and to ascend, that my twin flame would have an opposite reaction of like descending instead. So then I had to come to this understanding of like, you know, is it the twin flame journey? And at first I started blaming the twin flame journey for what I was experiencing as the dark night of the soul. I didn't realize that I was experiencing the dark night of the soul until after I had broken up with my twin flame. My twin flame got me to that point where there was like no return. Like it was just like boof, destruction. That was it. I lost all of my money. I lost my businesses that I had at the time. I went completely homeless. Like I didn't have anything to my name. And like in that moment, I had to really ask myself, what I was doing up until this moment worth it? And was it in alignment with what I was doing in that in the future, right? And that's what really brought me to this understanding of realizing that everything that I was doing with my twin flame was not honoring my path. Like we were not pushing ourselves to be better people. We were diving into drugs more often. We were partying a lot. We were getting very promiscuous. Not saying that being promiscuous is wrong, but like if that's what overwhelms you and consumes you and that becomes your priority, then you're going to notice that becomes a problem because you're stepping away from your spiritual order. Not everyone goes to the dark night of the soul. Some people have like an awakening, and that awakening can be rough. It can just be like, oh, you lost all your friends, right? People who go to the dark night of the soul will sometimes get attacked by lower dimensional entities, or they'll have an experience like me, like where they go homeless and they lose everything that they've worked for. And there's lessons behind every experience. Like a lot of times people are put into the dark night of the soul and they feel like they're victims, right? They're 3D in their reality. One of the things you really, really need to understand is that the dark night of the soul is not to make you a victim, it's to show you how powerful you are and to show you who you really are. And if you've walked away from that divine source of what you are, okay? So you need to be put in this position of understanding whatever's happening right now is happening for a greater purpose, because I'm supposed to be learning something, because something is not in alignment with my current reality at its highest vibration, okay? So this is the first video that I really wanted to leave for you. Sending you all my love. I'll talk to you later.